Hello and welcome back to Downunder The Ring. I am the Warship. It's episode 38. We're back, baby. I forget how to do an intro. Hello, Phid. Welcome in. How are you?
Good man. Apologies to everybody. The fact that we haven't had a show for a few weeks is completely on me. I had to go do some work over in New Zealand. I had a week off with my wife, which is actually the first week off we've had since we launched our company a year ago.
That's crazy.
I say sorry, but also, fuck, it was good.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, but at the same time, while we were over there, I got to catch Henare's Aotearoa wrestling show, which was amazing.
It is.
It was an amazing show. It was really cool. So good to get some indie wrestling in New Zealand, because I haven't been to an indie wrestling show over in Aotearoa about 9 years.
Yeah, it's wild. And it's awesome as well, considering obviously Henare is a friend of the podcast.
Yep.
Awesome to see the homie getting back into the swing of things, the never open weight champion. That is cool as hell, honestly. When you think about that lineage and everything, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Look at us today. Look at us rocking our OG nerd. It's everywhere. I got it on as well. Just wearing a bit of a sleeveless number because the gym's been going real good lately.
Bro, you've been following your updates on Instagram lately. It's been awesome. Like, looking jacked, bro.
Look, I'm trying, all right? Because at the end of the day, the reality is we're close. You know, I feel it. I've still got a little bit to lose. Obviously, the man shake stuff has been awesome for that. Like, we've been crushing it on that. It's been really, really good to get in there and do the gimmick. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
The what?
Oh, the boost. I have been killing the boost. I think I'm already halfway through the thing already.
Yeah, well, I've just had to order myself a tub because I've got 4 sachets of it left. So
no, it's been really, really cool. And honestly, it's just helping with my day-to-day. So I've got a couple of cool things coming out with those guys too. So stay tuned to the socials. You're going to see some fun stuff really soon. But yeah, it's been a wild time in wrestling too, like a crazy wild time in wrestling. Even here in Australia, there's been a lot of big moves and a lot of big stuff going on. Another friend of the podcast, our boy Gino, wrestling Kenta really soon. That's going to be
crazy.
sick.
And I think Kenta's doing 2 matches in one weekend that weekend.
Yeah, wild. So it's going to be full on. I think it's this weekend actually. So it's going to be a full on time. For me, obviously, there's a lot of excitement because while I'm sitting here in my hubris, like, oh, I can't wait to do this again, all that kind of stuff, it feels more real every week, every single week. Like, you know, we're training really hard. I haven't bumped yet in a ring. I've been down to the factory. For those who have been following the socials, you will have seen that I've been in the area and I've done the thing. But yeah, we're slowly working on things, and I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, this is me asking for a scoop here. Have any conversations been had at the factory?
Look, there's been some conversations had. I wouldn't say anything specific right at this point, but I've definitely I've got some ideas and I've got some plans. Whether it happens at the factory or not, obviously, in an ideal world, I'd like to go home. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how the cookie crumbles. Because at the end of the day, if I can't do it at the level that I need to do it at, I also have a lot of respect for pro wrestling. I always have had. That's why I always tried to be the best that I could be at it. And I never wanted to do it dirty. So at the end of the day, it's really about finding the niche of it and seeing if I can perform it to the level I want to. If I can do a big show, you know, it's on the way, but I'd much prefer to do a bit more of a Triple H. You know what I'm saying? So, like, obviously being a big guy at 6'2", 6'3", in boots, I'm bigger than most of the people that we have going around, and you know, in the 100 kilos, like I'm wide as well. So there's probably a good chance I could sit on my laurels and bump people around and barely leave my feet. But at the same time, it'd be really, really cool to be able to do some fun stuff. You know, I look at Bryan Danielson for inspiration in that. Like, how cool would it be to cop a shot to the back of the head and be like, oh no, you know,
have the world go, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, there's something about that I think is just really cool and unique. But again, we'll see how we go. So right now we're just focused on getting the diet right, which is pretty close at this point, I'd say. Although that being said, I have to take a tangent. We're doing a tangent already. I had a house inspection the other day, and I had to meal prep at the same time. So I'm obviously a little bit scuffed, and I'm doing my thing. At the shops, I bought my chicken, all that kind of stuff. I've been making a really nice curry lately.
Yeah.
And I went and I got the chicken, and I saw they had Carolina Reaper. It looked a little bit orange, though.
I laugh because I know the story.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell the full one, I don't think. But, yeah, it looked a bit orange. So I was like, this is not quite mature yet. So
it's not going to be super spicy, right?
No, of course not, because, like, it wouldn't be. And I was cutting everything up, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, you know, they're orange. Orange is like habanero. That's not spicy. So I put all 6 in. And it was only about 3 to 4 chicken breasts worth of meat, some mushrooms, some leek, the curry powder stuff, all the mixture. And, yeah, it was about 8 hours later, I started to smell capsaicin in the house, which is the ingredient that makes things hot.
Spicy.
It's also the thing that gives you pepper spray. Yeah. So I, didn't think much of it, packed my lunch for work. And then I got to work, and it was the worst time of my life. Like, I couldn't eat it. I ate about half of it. And I'm going to tell the rest now. Please, sensitive viewers, if you're sensitive to squeamishness, just, block your ears for a second. But I felt really sick. And it was about 5 hours later, and I was at the gym. I had to go to the toilet. I was in the toilet, and I can only describe the sensation as I pepper sprayed my junk. Like, that's it. Because the capsaicin had gone through my system and had come out the other end, and it just started to get warm and warm and warm and hot. And then I'm like, oh no. Like, I've cut peppers and then gone to the toilet and then touched my bits and gone, that was a mistake. This was hotboxing my dick with capsaicin.
And I think anyone who's ever had a muscle injury has probably had a similar sensation with the hot rub stuff.
Yeah, like that, except like being sprayed in the nuts with pepper spray. Like that was it. So, but yeah, that's my terrible story. If you have stopped listening, now's time to come back. It's okay. I promise. We've got lots to cover today. We should get into it because otherwise we'll just catch up and talk consistently.
Before we go any further, this show is brought to you by OG Nerd. OG Nerd represents the gamers, the cosplayers, the collectors, the model makers, the tattooists, the artists, and the athletes. They are not just a clothing brand. They are a subculture. OG Nerd revel in their halcyon youth and embrace the lifestyle driven by nostalgia, humble beginnings, and heroes.
OG Nerd strives to offer quality, comfortable, and above all stylish streetwear apparel inspired by a lifetime of gaming, music, and street art. I've worked with OG Nerd for many years and find their apparel second to none in terms of quality and appearance. Whether it's at a wrestling show or a convention, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better armor for your rig. Get yours at ognerdlife.com.
So, last time on the last exciting episode of Downunder The Ring, we spoke a lot about everything, honestly, like the Wyatt Six coming through, the tapes that have been playing, Drew and Punk. We're really starting to get into it. Like the last things we saw were we were questioning whether if the Creed brothers were going to be a part of Alpha Academy, whether they were going to team with Chad Gable. That's now official. Jacob Fatu has solidified himself in the bloodline, with also talks that we've got some new members coming really soon. The Drew and Punk stuff has escalated to the point now where Punk got cleared, which is awesome. So I think he's been cleared for weeks, if I'm honest with you. This is an updated version of episode 37 because now we've got answers to a lot of the questions that we had. So let's start off, I guess, in the most exciting thing for me, and that is seeing the Wyatt Six really evolve as a stable. Because when we last spoke about them, we had a lot of questions about them. How many weeks we're going to see tapes? Is it going to be the same thing over and over again? The promo was cool. It was really, really good. That was the first week that we saw Bo talking to Uncle Howdy. Since then, there's been a really cool few extra ones they've done where there you are, that promo.
Can we talk about Rowan?
Rowan's promo was heartbreaking.
This one here almost solidified to me where I sort of expected it to go, which was this was going to be them going through grief and experiencing grief, and grief is going to be like the backbone of almost this entire stable.
Yeah.
And with Rowan's promo, it was the first time in a long time where I've seen a promo that was real. Like, that was from the heart.
Yeah.
It did not feel like it was hokey. It didn't feel like they were playing it up as such. It was almost like, Rowan, let it out.
You've got 5 minutes. Go and say everything that you need to say to process this in front of the crowd. Because the thing is, and this is something that we don't talk about very often, is that we all grieve, right?
100%.
It's not just the people closest to Bray Wyatt.
My family is currently going through it still after losing one of the matriarch of my wife's family like 5 weeks ago, right? And
we all relate to grieving.
Oh, exactly.
And obviously Eric has had Luke Harper, Brody Lee pass away, right? Sort of after what they were doing, but still, I'm sure they were like brother every week on the phone, I'm sure there was a lot of that. So that was a lot of grief there. And then obviously with Wyndham Rotunda passing away in the most ridiculous and horrific, like out of nowhere, 1 second they're there, the next second in 30s life is snuffed out forever. It's a lot to process. And like, I've lost people directly next to me. I've lost family, I've lost friends, I've lost brothers. And it hits hard and it hurts.
Yeah.
So being able to have that moment to process that was really, really cool. It did teach, I think, the audience that it wasn't just about Bo Dallas. It's not just going to be, because I don't know if you feel the same way, but Bo's transformation in the last 6 weeks physically has been incredible.
Oh, today on the show, he looked amazing.
And like last week, there's a reason why he was hired first. His bumping when the Creeds came to the ring and knocked him from behind, he was getting thrown upside down. Like, it was really, really good. And it just shows that for anyone who doubted like what was going to happen here, because they're like, B team Bo Dallas, he's not a main event player. This is showing that this guy has it. And this week particularly, seeing the attack on Chad Gable, the Sister Abigail, which I think was like on par with like one of the best versions of that move. Seeing him use the move now going forward as well. I like that. That we said that we didn't want him to do everything, but after seeing him do that, I'm kind of okay with it.
It's actually funny. A lot of the things that me and you said 6-7 months ago, they have gone in the opposite direction, right?
Yeah.
And have changed my mind on a lot of it. Like we said, we didn't know if we wanted to see the Wyatt 6 be a full-on Wyatt 6.
Yeah.
Now they've gone in that direction. I'm like, I love it. They're
Sign me
executing
up.
this really well.
Yeah.
Bo continuing to do Uncle Howdy as well as being Bo.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to see Howdy continue because I wasn't sold on Howdy in the first place with Bray's last run. But they're doing amazing. Like, thing as a wrestling fan is I'm always more than happy to be proven wrong by the business.
Yeah.
You prove me wrong, I'm wrong. Right?
Yep, I'm okay to be wrong as well. Absolutely. And look, for me, the moment I think that solidified it was last week and seeing him do the arms outstretched moment. And I was like, yeah, okay, I understand that that's Bray's thing. But it was the way that Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy put their hands on his back, which, if you recall, that's what Rowan and Harper used to do.
Yep.
It was something about the dichotomy of that, and then seeing Rowan standing behind him. Because if I'm honest with you, and I'm sure everyone, if you use your like truth voice, Eric Rowan was the shittest part of the whole stable. Like he was the least. He was the least talented wrestler because he was green. He didn't really have a character. He just wore this shitty, baggy jumpsuit, like a reject from Slipknot. Wasn't really given much. Right now, as this Five Nights at Freddy's Bonnie that he looks like.
I believe out of the three of them, Luke Harper was the even more experienced than Bray, right?
Yeah, because he was as Brody Lee.
He was on the Indies.
On the Indies, and he had a huge run in Chikara and things like that. But yeah, so seeing the real evolution of both Bo Dallas and Eric Rowan becoming this stalwart kind of like monster. Like, I can't wait to see Eric throw it down now. And if you had to ask me 5 years ago, 6 years ago, do you want to watch an Eric Rowan match? I probably would say I will, but first I'm gonna go get a drink. If it's over by the time I get back, you know. But I'm actually excited here. I might be proven wrong. Like, he might get in the ring and shit the bed, but I just don't think so. It's about the aura. Right now, we're seeing where the character was supposed to progress. And I mean that for everyone. The only thing I wish is that Bo Dallas would come out and say, "My name's Taylor Rotunda. I am not Bo Dallas." That's a name that was given.
One thing about last week's episode, where Bo came out to the ring, I think the genius in that, right, is when he was called out to the ring, he was in a t-shirt and jeans.
A white six shirt still, which is cool.
But I did love that they separated Bo from the group and made him look very human, right?
Yeah.
And so it was almost like you aren't getting to Howdy. You're not getting to the group.
Yeah.
You're
just a
Bo.
guy.
I'm just Bo. But also during that beatdown, the callbacks not just to Bray, but the small subtle callbacks to Brody as well, like the yeah when he was in the corner and all that sort of thing, and it was so beautiful to watch.
Even Joe Gacy wearing Luke Harper's like blue with the shirt as well, like that was cool too. Coming out with like an unbuttoned shirt.
This is actually something that I'd completely forgotten about, because in the latter half of I was going to say Luke Harper's, but Brody's AEW run, he didn't really use it. But the light behind them is actually a nod to Brody.
Yeah, because that was the original opening the door. In fact, when Bray first opened the door on his return, that was a call to Luke Harper as well. Like, that was
and
the
I
whole
didn't
thing
realize
about
that. Did not realize it. I'd completely forgotten that was a Harper thing. And so once I found out, I was like, oh, this is awesome. There's like the callbacks that these guys are doing to each other, even if it's interpromotional, was amazing.
No, look, I'm all for it. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's a really interesting pick to pick Chad Gable as the first one, but I'm going to take one of our points and move it up because I feel like it's a natural progression and say that I think Chad Gable is doing his best work by far. Agreed.
I think you've been coining the term Team Angle 2.0 for these guys. I think they need to drop the Alpha Academy name from these guys. Too. It's no longer an academy. I think American Alpha or something is what
Alpha
they need
Creeds
to be.
Or something like that. Like
it's the only thing I have an issue with these guys is their name right now.
I like the slow burn "You Suck" too, because it's not in the same tune as Angles, but they are still chanting "You suck."
It's almost like the crowd is trying to figure out how to make it work still.
Yeah, how to make it, you know what, give him the music. Give him Sergeant Slaughter's like Survivor Series music, which was Kurt Angle's music. I think it was Survivor Series. But give him the dirt music. I'm all for that. Have Kurt Angle come back and manage them.
I would almost say just rework that song so it's just got the in the
what about the metal version from the Attitude CD? Like it was like it had that bit and then it went to the metal version. Yeah.
Give him that.
Yeah. I'd be up for that. Honestly, at this point, the parallels are there.
Yeah. And I have no problem with you bringing back Perk Angle to be the manager.
Mate, I would have no problem with him literally taking everything. Like, give him the Angle Slam, give him the Grapevine with the ankle lock as well. Like, allow that to be the end of every match. like rather than because people have been getting out of the grapevine for Chad.
Yeah.
But
What
yeah.
I am loving with what's happening with Chad at the moment, though, and this is actually across the board with WWE and their writing right now, is it's not one story per character.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got Chad who's got his thing going on with Howdy, but he's also still got the ex-Alpha Academy guys that he's got a storyline with as well, and he's still sort of loosely in that intercontinental scene as well. And seeing this across the roster and across all the programming right now, where everybody's got multiple things where they're connected to, which is it's more like real life, right? We don't have one thing we're focused on for the week. We've got multiple things.
I think that that's, for a reason. And I think that the reason is that one thing that Triple H in this Triple H era has done is future-proof. And right now, you're setting in stone the next year of Chad Gable.
Yeah.
And it's across the board with everybody. With John Cena announcing his retirement, which we haven't even put in our notes.
No.
I would say that you've already future-proofed LA Knight versus Cena. You've already future-proofed Joe Hendry versus Cena. Randy Orton is definitely going to turn on Cody Rhodes in the next few months.
Yep.
I think that you're really starting to future-proof all of this stuff. And it just shows you that WWE really is just, man, there's not even a chessboard in front of them anymore.
No.
Like, there isn't. Like, they have evolved past 3D chess. They're doing Tony Stark with all the stuff in holographic chess because they're playing these moves that just don't even exist yet. And that's something that you really, really brought to my mind the other day.
Yeah, so this was more of a business thing, but I've put in our notes as 3D chess, but you've just gone and thrown my whole gimmick out the window. But I have a theory that I haven't seen anyone else speak about, so correct me in the comments if someone else has brought this up.
Do it, I dare you.
But I think WWE is playing some ridiculously smart business right now when it comes to the pecking order of programming in the wrestling sphere. So, as you rightfully pointed out in our group chat the other day, is WWE is number one. They are the top dog. They are not going to be knocked off that perch anytime soon. And all they've done since Vince was given the heave-ho is gotten better and solidified that position, right? Where I think they're being smart is, I believe that they are putting the pieces in place for that number 2 spot. So they're not at war with AEW. What they're doing is they're putting TNA in a position where TNA is essentially a patsy in the war. They're the ones that they're going, the number 2 should be someone who's aligned with us.
Yeah.
Not Tony Khan and his boys, not New Japan Pro Wrestling, not CMLL or AAA. It should be someone that we're aligned with. And all you have to do is look at in the last week in pro wrestling. This last weekend, literally all of this on Saturday, was we had 2 big shows on Saturday. One was AEW Collision, which I made the joke in our group chat was, what is AEW doing in the Impact Zone? Because that's literally what that Collision show looked like. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a smart move because the joke has been for a long time that they're unable to fill up arenas. Why are you still trying to fill arenas when you can't fill arenas? And then we had TNA, who had a pay-per-view the same day, 4,000 people arena, sold out. Like if they'd decided to move to a bigger arena, I genuinely think they could have sold another 2,000 tickets. And it's because this crossover with NXT is good. It is working. You don't know who's going to turn up on NXT at the moment. I'm probably more interested in what's happening on NXT than I am interested in what's happening on Dynamite from week to week at the moment. But then TNA is exactly the same. On Thursday nights, are you going to see somebody showing up from NXT? We now have a stable that is across brand stable in the Rascals, where the Rascals are made up of one person from NXT and two people from TNA. Sure, they're an old stable from back in the day, but it's the first time we've ever seen a stable crossover between WWE and a non-WWE show.
Two major companies.
As far as I know, in the history of WWE. I tried to rack my brain as to whether this has been a thing, bar the Bullet Club's loose association with the OC. Yeah. Bar that, this is the first like straight up cross promotional WWE.
Yeah, and not just one company, one guy going from one company to the other, like Rick Rude or anything like that. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I look at the whole situation, and Hard to Kill did officially the best numbers in the history of the company. So when you say the history of the company, you don't mean just TNA now or Impact or original
Global Force
TNA.
Wrestling.
Yeah, it is the history of the company. Now, right now, I'm way more interested in TNA than I am AEW. And, you know, I'm sour about AEW with the Punk thing. And sure, MJF is doing some great stuff over there right now, as always. You know, there's some things going on there, but man, the idea that you might just get like AJ Styles at Slammiversary is ridiculous.
I'm seriously considering buying Slammiversary. Oh, not Slammiversary. What's the next one? Whatever their big one is that's coming up.
Oh, I can't remember. Oh, what's the? Oh, god damn it! That's going to annoy the hell out of me.
Victory Road. Oh, it's one of their big ones.
Bound for
the next
Glory.
one. Oh, Bound for Glory. That's right. Yeah. I'm seriously considering buying that when it comes around in like 2 or 3 months' time, because I think it will be a huge show.
I think that we're going to get AJ Styles in the main event. Personally,
100%. I could see it happening. But the thing is, I haven't bought, and this is a guy who, when we first started this show, you gave me shit as being the AEW guy.
Yeah.
I haven't bought an AEW pay-per-view in 2024.
No. And you were at a point where you were watching it and I was watching WWE. Like that
so
was
we
where
we could both talk about both shows.
Yeah, when we first started this, you were like, I didn't really watch WWE, bro. Can you talk about it? And I'll just pipe in. And I was like, sure, but I'm not watching the Young Bucks. You know, that was really where we were when we first started this whole thing off. And
I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I want AEW to be good. I want it to be better. I think I did watch Dynamite last week because I wanted to watch that 1 hour banger. And Will Ospreay and MJF had a banger. It was a great match. It did not slow down. Kudos to both those men. There was no hold moves. It was all just go, 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 go. It was like watching a New Japan hour-long match. It was amazing.
Wrestle Kingdom coming across once a year. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But am I watching it every week?
No. I'm thankful that New Japan doesn't have weekly programming because, dude, we don't have time.
Seriously, I could barely watch what we're watching now. But yeah, like the reality of the situation is that this is massive. I really think that there's something to this, and if they can position themselves to be essentially the number 2 and the number 1, then you're already kind of winning, because right now WWE, it's not competition. Like, it's not. When you look at the weekly buys, when you look at the ups and downs, like, they don't reflect. Right now, you would be lying to yourself if you said that WWE isn't producing the best TV it's produced ever since the Attitude Era.
I would argue it's the best they've produced ever. Like, as much as I love the Attitude Era, I was a teenager in those years. As much as I loved that, I go back and I realize how much better the show is now. Right?
You don't watch Al Snow and Mosh and Thrasher.
There was a lot of filler shit on those shows.
Yeah, no, honestly, and like the reality is that sure, we're in a world now where we're still seeing some filler. Like there is. Yeah. There's stuff that happened this week that we just
haven't bothered to talk about, and it's probably not worth us putting the time in to talk about every single match every single week. But what I will say is all of those filler matches have got purpose.
And they've got quality too. Like even if they are filler matches, they're still of a high quality.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, back in the day, we're getting Savio Vega versus Headbanger Thrasher. You know, like, and don't get me wrong, love both the guys, but there's a significant difference between that and what we're at now. So, Yeah, I think that you're right. I think you're bang on the money with it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see TNA slot itself into that conversation at least.
Yep.
Even if it's the number 3, but it's a close number 3. You know.
Yep.
Like,
Here's a question, TNA related question I did want to bring up. We haven't got it on the notes, but it's: do you think they dropped the ball with Joe Hendry at Slammiversary?
No. Because Triple H booking, long-term booking.
So here's what I think they're doing. There's a rumor that Bound for Glory may not be in the United States this year.
Yeah.
It may
Could
be
be
in
over
the
there.
UK.
Yeah.
And if it's in the UK, TNA has the opportunity to do the one thing Triple H hasn't done, is have the local Scottish guy go over and get the biggest pop of the night.
Look, I think that would be awesome. But to throw on my cap here, Joe Hendry has stated multiple times that his contract is very long with TNA. And it's going to be a long time before he'll see me in the WWE. But what about if they say, hey, give us the contract and we'll let AJ Styles finish his career in TNA?
Look, good sell. Or at least have a run.
That's worth
right?
it.
At least have a run.
Worth it. Yeah, absolutely. Because he's winding down. He's said that when we know that.
Yeah.
Why not finish where you started and elevate that company and the people he wrestles 100,000-fold?
Well, there's another thing as well that's happened in the last couple of weeks, and it's been confirmed that TNA has actually renegotiated their contract with Jordan Grace. So Jordan Grace's contract was set to expire sometime mid-2025.
Yeah.
And apparently they've adjusted her contract so that it expires the 1st of January.
Yeah.
So,
which is the day one of a Netflix deal, right?
Exactly. So I don't see TNA, as long as they're able to continue this working relationship with WWE, I don't see a situation where they don't do more of that, where they go, okay, we will adjust contracts, let our guys come over and work for you, but on paper, you've got a contract that says they need to still cross over with us from time to time, give us
something.
And that could be the whole thing with Joe Hendry saying, I'm not going to join, blah, 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 blah. Could be a big ruse to have an angle where he quits TNA or something.
We love our red herrings.
Oh,
no,
exactly.
we really do. So, look, it's absolutely possible. I'm really interested to see where we go with it, if I'm honest with you.
Oh,
Well, on the topic of being interested, though, CM Punk is clear.
Mate, what did you think of today's segment?
Oh, my goodness. Like, the fire that he brought, he came out and he's like, let's just do it, man. Let's just do it. Let's just not wait. He got in the ring. He started taping up his wrists. He had his pink shoes on. And then he was like, come on, Drew,
I wondered
let's go.
where that, right at the start of that promo, I wondered where it was going, because CM Punk has had some hit or miss promos since he's been back in the WWE. But it started off with my shoes are pink, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be one of the shit ones. But dude, that had turned around. The only thing that I thought he should have done is turn around to Pat McAfee and be like, dude, can I borrow your marker?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, honestly, okay, so here's my thing, is Drew did the classic. You know, the Triple H. You want to wrestle me? Well, but not today. You know. Oh, God. Where'd that come from? You know, he gave that whole Triple H classic thing.
Yeah.
And it was a good twist, because Punk was like, oh, fuck it. I want to fight you now.
And this is the difference, though, is back in the day when they used to do those angles, the other person would sort of stop and be like, okay, explain yourself, sort of situation. But Punk just kept the fire going. It's like, as the whole thing was going down, he was just like, no, get in the ring. I want to fight you now. I'm cleared. We fight now, which should be how you are if you're amped up in real life, right?
If you're actually angry with someone, that's what you should be doing, you know? Yeah. And then it took Pierce to say, no, if you do fight, if you touch each other, whoever threw the first punch, you'll be suspended indefinitely. Like,
and the fight is off.
Which is a callback to Triple H and Stone Cold.
Yep.
Like, a callback to that as well. I like it because it means that we're going to get really engaging promos for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to have a good match.
Well, we've got 2 weeks until SummerSlam, so
Yeah.
you needed to put a reason in there for these guys not to touch each other.
Yeah.
And
we can't have him hurt again because they've done that already.
Exactly.
So
and the other thing I'm super interested in this is I think this match is going to be a banger at SummerSlam. But
SummerSlam, Hulk Hogan. Let's go.
SummerSlam in the Tampa Dome. But what's interesting for me here is how do they protect Punk but make the match still look amazing? Because I wouldn't mind picking what we see going forward with Punk is a bit of creative planning in these matches where you're making Punk look great, but you're also protecting him at the same time because we're both CM Punk marks, but we both have to admit dude's made of glass. He's fragile.
Yeah. Well, he can be, absolutely. He absolutely can be. But I think that maybe there's a bit of we're really expected, we're coded to being convinced that he's just going to get hurt. Whereas, it was unfortunate. Maybe it was just unfortunate. Yeah. Maybe he's got some time left and he won't get injured again. Maybe that's just what they want you to think as well. So
it could be.
Like I'm the thing, honestly, about all this, other than it is a cracker of a feud right now, it's probably right up there with the best feud. And you notice in our notes we don't mention the Bloodline at all. We probably should talk about that really briefly. But it is a banger of a feud. And honestly, the second thing we haven't mentioned at all is Cody Rhodes, which is a big problem. Like a massive, massive problem. Because right now, Drew and Punk is money. Yep. And the other part of the money for me right now, too, is you've got two of the exact same vibe angles going on one brand at the same time, and they both feel completely different. Because you had Gunther come out at the start of Raw and start to apologize for saying all the stuff about Damian Priest being homeless and a bum and a trailer park trash and all that stuff. And then Priest came out and punched him in the fucking mouth. And then they fought for the rest of the night. Yeah. So, there's something about the fact that they could run pretty much the same fire with two major angles for two really important reasons and not have it feel like you're doubling up.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly entertained by both.
Yeah. How are you feeling, though, with Damian Priest as champ at the moment?
Better. Today made me feel better.
Yeah.
Because he needs fire. Because right now, up until today, he's a giant pussy.
Yeah.
He's a giant lucky pussy. Who, because some shit happens, he catches you in the south of heaven, and that's it. Yep. He beats the jobbers easy. But when it comes to the big matches, it's lucky.
I was concerned with how Money in the Bank ended, how that was going to reflect on him, because while that pushed Drew and Punk forward brilliantly, by the way, that entire ending of that match was gold. Awesome.
Yeah.
But once again, we had Damian Priest holding the title at the end due to shenanigans that had nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's because then you worry about if you always win because of shenanigans, eventually you don't have any credibility. There's no fire. You're just the guy who gets lucky.
It was what we were saying about Roman Reigns near the end of his run is awesome. He's a record holder, but he hasn't had a one-on-one match without bullshit.
He's had 30 matches this year, like the last 2 years. It's... I'm happy to see him actually going in. I wouldn't mind seeing him beat Gunther, if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think he will, but I wouldn't mind seeing him actually get a deserved win and then drop it.
If it's a win, it needs to be clean.
Yeah. But he has to earn it because that will then solidify him. It won't hurt Gunther at all.
It will not hurt Gunther. And the thing is, Gunther gets to re-challenge for that title at Berlin. Which is
and then he wins.
Yeah,
that's the only way I can really see it going if they put Priest in that spot. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Like, so I'm really okay with how both of those storylines are going right now. They're both money. They're both printable, tangible money. And
I think Damian Priest versus Gunther has the makings of a brilliant match too.
Yeah, no, I do too, and like, I'm really excited to see. Again, man, I'm saying that a lot today because I am, because wrestling is exciting, and that's what it is. The reality of the situation is wrestling has become something that is really exciting. The Rock made it cool again, guys. It's okay. The Rock did it.
Well, look, he made that phone call.
He did. And if you look at that documentary, he did everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he made the call. We've got no confirmation on whether or not he was the one who gave Rhea the call, though, and told her to come back.
Oh, no, he did. I'm sure
he did?
No, absolutely he did, yeah. No, in fact, I'm sure he was part of the rehab. She rang The Rock and said, "Excuse me, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, can you please heal me with your Jesus-like powers?"
Well, this is something that happened in between the last few weeks since we've been on air as well. As a friend of the show, Rhea Ripley, has has come back. She's returned.
Yep.
What a return.
After getting married, and is now back and has made a really big impact. I like the direction we're going in, because I was really worried that it would become just a straight up turn from the beginning. I'm a little skeptical of the way that they've just put them back together so quickly. I feel like Dirty Dom might be dirty at some point in the future.
What I find interesting about that, and this is typical wrestling psychology as a fan, or in booking, right, is we're totally expected to forget about the fact that Rhea Ripley manipulated Dom in the first place into this relationship.
Yeah.
And now all of us as fans are like, what about Rhea? Poor Rhea.
Yeah.
What do you mean poor Rhea? She manipulated Dom in the first place.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see this whole angle play out, especially today with crying Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, you cannot cry. You are bad at crying. Bad at fake crying. Like, that was not a good time.
Yeah.
I really thought at the end of that, as she was turning around, she was going to stop and she was going to smile, and that was going to be it.
Yeah.
And she was going to laugh or something. That's the only part that makes me feel like
there's been a few little wee missteps with Liv.
Yeah.
One of them being that. One of them being when Rhea came back, they had her pulling the curtain and having a bit of a laugh at the situation.
Yeah.
There's just a few little weird missteps that they have done there. I don't
also,
think
her
it's
finish is
massive.
shithouse. Sorry. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping that we start seeing some real movement in the storyline after SummerSlam, or at SummerSlam, with Daddy Dom on a pole match.
Look, do it. Reference it. Go back. Give us Eddie Guerrero custody all over again.
I'm kind of amazed they haven't made it a ladder match. And I think you could have done it where you put all the booking in place that's exactly the same as Custody of Dom without calling it Custody of Dom, and just let the internet move with it.
Judy Bagwell on a pole match. We should do it. Let's go straight into it. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I like it. I think Finn Balor is definitely still the sleazy fuckboy and will be the catalyst for it too.
I'm wondering if it's him and JD.
Yeah.
And
I could see it. I could see it being a situation where I'm wrong about Dom and Finn comes out in that match. And Finn, maybe there's a moment where it looks like it's Dom and then it's Finn.
Yeah.
So I could see that too.
Yeah, I mean, look, all you have to look at today was Dom was the one who sent, not Dom, Finn was the one who sent Dom in that direction.
Yeah, he's like, come on, let's, you go that way, I'll go this way. Yeah.
There's lots of little things like that but yeah, also, we said at the start of the show, red herrings, like, they're a thing now, like.
We're seeing things that aren't there a lot too, so.
Yeah, which is brilliant booking, like, and I think we said this going into WrestleMania this year. I think we might have actually said it going into WrestleMania last year as well, but we're now in an era where we aren't 100% sure what's going to happen anymore, and it's brilliant.
Okay, like, one thing that I really would like is give Bron Breakker the fucking Steiner name already. I want him to be Bron Steiner.
Yeah.
This is my argument.
What do you think is the reasoning behind WWE being so anti having the kids named after their parents? Because they did the same thing with McGillicuddy back in the day with
Dempsey as well.
Yeah, it's like, why not? There's nothing wrong with leaning into their father's lineage or
I
mother's
think that
lineage.
there's an
whatever.
idea that they don't want them to become the carbon copies of the characters, the same version again.
Yeah,
they want them
but
to
Cody
make their own
Rhodes is a good
names.
example of that not being a thing. Like, nobody looks at Cody and goes, "Oh, he's definitely Dusty's son."
But how many
I
Codys-
didn't know he was Dusty's son until someone told me recently. It's never been referenced.
No, I've never heard it actually. What you Dusty Rhodes? Wow.
Dusty Rhodes, yeah, the American Dream. See, American Dream, American Nightmare.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
right.
really cool.
But I mean, with Randy Orton,
Yeah.
like Randy Orton, like he's got the name of his father. Like, sure, he's levels ahead of his father ever was. But
Yeah. But how many times has he honestly mentioned it? Aside from the Legend Killer thing? And
early on in his career, it was mentioned quite a bit.
But not to the point where it's like, I have to do this for my puppy and I'm going to cry every fucking episode of wrestling forever. I think that he's definitely turning, by the way, just as a side note there. And I think it's happening really soon.
Yeah. But Bron,
It's Bron.
what
Steiner.
are your thoughts on Bron?
Well, I was talking to one of the friends of the podcast who has been good with the tips we've been talking about sometimes. He was like, I really hope they find a way to get Bron Breakker into a Nia Jax feud. Just so he can do the Samoa Joe promo for Scott Steiner with Bron Breakker. Or Kevin Owens is the other one.
And he chose Nia to be the one he does
chose
it with.
Nia. That was the one.
Out of all the Samoans on the roster.
Because he just wants to say, she's fat. That's the whole thing. Honestly, the way that he's been cutting promos, there was a promo a couple of weeks ago where he was talking and everything he said was just Scott. The way that he cut his words, every single thing. I'm waiting for him to come to a show and say, "Give me the fucking mic." I'm waiting for him to do that. Because he's 100%. Turn him heel, he's heelish now, right? Have him win the Intercontinental Championship and then have him come out with the bleached mustache. Holy shit, that would be the coolest thing. That would be the cool. Even just that reference would be the coolest thing in the entire world. Because they're calling him like a genetic freak. They're giving him those lines, and then he has the all the time too. And the crowd are behind that. Lean into these things. I think that's my takeaway from all of it. Is just that lean into it. We're leaning into Taylor and Wyndham. That's working. Cody Rhodes worked before. It worked. It did. It really did. But I'm done.
Can we come back to this, to Cody? Cody's run since WrestleMania, one of the most lackluster championship runs that I can think of, and it's confirmation that the face is always better during the chase.
All I can think is the reason it's so lackluster right now is because we're dragging this Bloodline 2.0 and he doesn't have an engaging opponent. Because Solo Sikoa, he's cool.
He's not. I don't think he is cool. I don't think he's
not engaging.
Cool. I don't think
like
he's
the character
engaging.
change. I like it, but that's it.
Yep.
He's not a contender. He's not viable. He's not going to win the belt. So why are we doing it? All we're really doing is waiting for Randy Orton to give the RKO to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And then all we're really doing is waiting for Randy Orton to pin Cody Rhodes, because then all we'll be doing is waiting for John Cena to pin Randy Orton.
Yeah.
That is the future.
Yeah.
In my crystal ball, that's what we see. So it feels lackluster because you know the result.
Yeah, because after next weekend, when Roman's back, that's my crystal ball.
Yep.
moment. It's not going to be Cody and Roman. It's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline.
Yeah, because we just had Tama Tonga's brother sign as well, confirmed, right?
Correct, confirmed. Yeah.
So
we actually, you and I had that leaked to us late last year that Hukaleo had signed with WWE.
We did.
But we decided we're not a Scoops show.
No, we're not. So the idea now, obviously, is we're heading to Survivor Series. We're heading to Bloodline versus Bloodline. That whole thing that will take everyone else off the card. Like out of that picture. It will allow Cody to focus on Randy. It will allow The Rock to come back at Survivor Series and rock bottom Roman and declare himself as the reason that the Bloodline is doing what they're doing, crowning himself as the High Chief rather than the Tribal Chief.
I like that.
And then we will have High Chief versus Tribal Chief at WrestleMania.
The thing is, also, if he calls himself High Chief, that there actually opens up for the legit real-life High Chief to return.
And we will be in a situation where we will definitely have Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania.
Yep.
We will have John Cena versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania, is my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Is that
with
the
Cody.
title?
It has to be. Maybe with Cody.
Three-way.
Because we don't get three-ways at Mania because they don't like doing it.
Yeah.
That's my only concern, is that the last time we had a multi-man championship match really was WrestleMania 2000, right? Aside from the three ways, the Benoit, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, no one, redacted.
Well, yeah, if you don't count the cash into the century, the heist of the century.
Yeah, or the two triple threat matches that we did have. Like, if you don't count those, which, it's fair because they're deleted from history most of the point anyway. But we haven't really seen like a proper, true multi-man championship match for a long time. So
Well,
I can see
we thought we were getting it this year.
We did. But I can see it for this year because what else does Cody do? Like, he's got to be involved in something.
And he needs to be top of the card, right?
Yeah, because they pushed him as this guy.
I think if you drop him down to mid-card at this stage, it's the death warrant for him.
Oh, that's the end, yeah. That being said, if Punk and Seth isn't Mania, I could see it being Punk and Cody for the belt.
For the AEW, the real AEW World Championship?
Yeah, he pulls it out of the bag. He brings a red bag out and pulls it out. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're starting to see formation of the card already. I don't know where we're going with any of it, though. That, again, like we've been saying, is the most exciting thing. The only thing I will say about the Bloodline thing on my last note is the second Jacob Fatu left his feet, Solo Sikoa became the second best member of the Bloodline.
Absolutely.
Because the second he hit that triple jump moonsault.
Or as Tama Tonga would say, yeah.
High pitched voice, remember? Honestly, he became the second most interesting character easily, in this new version.
Yeah.
And honestly, and one more thing too, Tonga Loa, man, they're keeping him off, and that double low blow, oof.
That was rough.
Punching Tommy in the head. Man, it just keeps happening.
Yeah, that was rough. There's a few moments from this new Bloodline thing which are just like, oof.
But look, we're getting there, all right? We have to apologize to everyone. We didn't do it at the start. We'll do it at the drop, at the end here. We'll say we're sorry because we've had a lot going on. We've had a lot of... we had a podcast recorded. Me and Substitute Betson had a podcast recorded last week.
Yeah.
Didn't work. It botched. It was a botch. It wasn't my fault, clearly. It was actually the software we use's fault, so we couldn't provide that. But we're here. We're back. And
apologies to Substitute Betson.
Yep, you will be, unless we figure out a way to make it happen at some point, you will be the lost episode there. But that does mean we are now 2 episodes away from episode 40, and I want you to tell us what we have to do for that.
Ooh.
I want you, if you've come to this point in the podcast, I want you to leave a comment.
If you've come to this point in the podcast, you're a fan.
Oh, yeah. What was it? What was CVV say? You're a real one. You're absolutely that. You're a real one.
Yeah.
But let us know. Send us a gimmick on a Spotify comments. I don't know if we have them. We probably don't. But somewhere on the internet, leave us a thing.
You know what? We're all over social media.
We are. You can find us everywhere.
At DWN Under the Ring on X, Down Under the Ring on Instagram. Look, I barely check the Facebook, so don't bother putting anything there. But look, and then you've got Shippy at _ TheWarship on X.
Mm-hmm.
Myself at Phid McAwesome on everything. And you can hit us up on all of those things. And yeah.
Tell us what you want us to do for the 40th, because we've got a couple of ideas, but I'd really like to get your thoughts as to what we should do. Whether it's something stupid, I'm not eating another Carolina Reaper because I clearly just ate 6 and pooed fire. So let's not do that again. But give us something fun to do. We'd love to do that. Love to get you guys involved with that.
Absolutely.
Look, that's the show, because honestly, I can't even say let's do an LA Knight moment of the week, because there's his moments.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I think he will win the belt.
I think, look, they have to at this point. They have to. One thing I will say is if anyone is watching the YouTube or watching this, what has been watching the shorts on TikTok and Instagram, you might have noticed a new addition to the background. What I will say about that is if you wanted to get your own, we actually have this really handy link in our bio, in the description, in our link tree. It's this really handy link. It goes to www.shop.com, where you can buy yourself title belts, you can buy yourself merch, you can grab T-shirts, you can grab basically anything your heart desires from WWE. And look, maybe that's this week's LA Knight moment of the week, is there's some great LA Knight shirts on there.
Wait, is that World Wrestling Entertainment?
That is World Wrestling Entertainment. But look, use the link in our bio, in our description, because your boys get a bit of a kickback when you buy something using our link. And
absolutely.
We thank www.shop.com for supporting the show.
That's www.shop.com. Use the link in the description. It is right there. Use that link, click the button. There's a bunch of merch, actually, I'm pretty keen on getting. And it's not even
do you know what I was thinking about getting? Is one of the problems I had when I got the new belt, because I'm starting to build a bit of a collection, is I'm starting to run out of places to put belts. And on www.shop.com, you can actually buy the little loop thing that they hang the belts on for the ladder matches? Yep. You can buy those.
That's sick. You should get one of those and hang it from behind.
That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be dope. Yeah. Hang it like halfway through, just above the pinball machine there. That'd be sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be all about that.
Then I'll have a little step ladder to the side there, just in case someone wants to fight me for it.
And then I'll have to come over there and beat you for it.
Hey, we are working on something pretty cool to get you over the side of the country in the coming months.
In the coming months, I'm gonna have to only have one seat on the aeroplane this time instead of 2, which will be nice. But yes, that is it. Thank you for being here. Use the link in the description, www.shop.com. I really appreciate everyone who sticks with us with this. I know we've had a bit of up and down when it comes to being active and all that stuff. It was really nice this week to have a conversation with you guys over on my X about my inactivity recently and the podcast, and getting the positivity and the affirmations there. Please keep them coming, because it's so valued.
I don't know about you, but I appreciate any time I am at an event or something and I'm not recognized for my day job. Mm-hmm. Like when someone comes up and says, "Hey, love the podcast." I'm like, oh my God, someone actually appreciates the podcast. It happened in Auckland. Someone came up and said, "Hey man, I love the podcast." I was like, bro, this is awesome.
That's so cool. That is honestly so cool. So keep that coming too. Honestly, if you listen to the podcast, let us know.
Hype your boys up.
Hype your boys up, because this is something that I really value. It gives me perspective in my wrestling brain. It keeps me active in it. And especially while I'm training, there are times when I get in my own head, when I think, can I do it? Can I get back in? Will it ever be what it was, or what it could be, what I want it to be? And these moments when I'm struggling and you guys come out and say that stuff, it really helps. So,
dude, while we're being a wee bit sentimental with it, I'll tell you one of the things. I don't think I've really talked about this. Is as a wrestling fan, I always felt I wanted to be more involved in wrestling, in pro wrestling, in some way or another. And I'm not a guy who's big enough to be a pro wrestler. I'm getting to the age where it's probably too late for me to even give that a go. And this is my way of being involved in the industry and getting to have a part. So you guys supporting us is keeping me involved in the pro wrestling industry outside of just being a fan. And I love it.
You get to live it, at least a little bit. And then when I jump the guardrail or my music hits the show and you're there, yeah, it's a little bit of an experience you get to live too. So
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being part of that. Thank you for being part of this journey. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Now say something tough because we've been too sentimental.
Oh yeah. You all suck. And
yeah, fuck yes.
Yeah, fucks. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, we'll see you down under the ring.